Dear listeners, I welcome you to my channel. Leave your comments and impressions, I value your opinion. The corporate party is in full swing, an expensive affair in the grand ballroom of the city's most luxurious hotel. The music is loud, the lights are dim, and people are lost in conversation, laughter, and the occasional awkward dance move. I stand by the bar, nursing my whiskey, feeling the burns slide down my throat as I watch the spectacle unfold. My eyes scan the room, eventually landing on Jessica, my wife, radiant in her red dress. She's the center of attention, as always, her laugh loud and carefree. But tonight, there's a shift in her demeanor, a sparkle that's not for me. My chest tightens as I follow her gaze across the room to Brad, her colleague. They share a glance, a secret smile, and suddenly the crowded room feels empty, save for the two of them. "Hey Josh, you alright?" Greg, my coworker, claps me on the shoulder, pulling me out of my thoughts. "Yeah, just tired," I lie, forcing a smile. Craig nods, distracted by the sight of Jessica and Brad now whispering closely. "Man, those two are something, huh? Always so close. You sure everything's cool?" I grit my teeth and nod, unable to tear my eyes away from them. "Yeah, they're just friends." But the way Brad touches her arm, the way she leans into him, tells a different story. My mind races, memories of late-night meetings and hushed phone calls flashing through my head. I finish my drink and decide it's time to confront her to end this charade. As I make my way through the crowd, Jessica and Brad slip out a side door. Panic rises within me, but I force myself to stay calm. I follow them outside, the cool night air hitting me like a slap. I round the corner and there they are, locked in a passionate kiss. My world shatters. "Jessica." She pulls away, eyes wide with shock and guilt. "Josh, Save it." My voice is cold, even to my own ears. "You're coming home with me. Now." Brad steps forward, trying to play the hero. "Josh, calm down. It's not what it looks like." "Shut up," I snap, fury boiling over. "Jessica, get in the car." But she doesn't. Instead, she takes Brad's hand and my heart sinks. "I'm sorry, Josh, I'm leaving with him." They walk away and I'm left standing there, feeling a mix of anger and humiliation. I drive home in haze, the road a blur through my tears. By the time I reach the house, my sadness has transformed into a cold, hard rage. I storm inside, heading straight for the bedroom. I yank open the closet doors, grabbing handfuls of Jessica's clothes and throwing them into a heap on the floor. Dresses, shoes, jewelry, everything she cherishes. I toss it all into the hallway. Halfway through my destructive spree, my phone rings. I don't recognize the number, but in my state, I answer it anyway. "Josh." A woman's voice, shaky but determined. "Who is this?" I demand. "It's Linda, Brad's wife." I freeze, the room spinning. "What do you want?" "I know what happened tonight," she says, her voice breaking. "I'm as devastated as you are. But please, don't do anything rash. I have a plan." "A plan? What kind of plan?" "A plan to destroy them. To make them pay for what they've done to us." There's a fierceness in her voice that matches my own anger. "We can't let them get away with this. They need to face the consequences." I'm silent for a moment, the weight of her words sinking in. "What are you proposing?" "Meet me tomorrow at Cafe Luna, 10 a.m. We'll talk then." She hangs up before I can respond. I stand there, phone in hand, staring at the pile of Jessica's belongings scattered around me. Part of me wants to finish what I started, to burn every trace of her from my life. But another part, a darker part, wants revenge. The night passes slowly. Sleep is out of the question, my mind a whirlwind of anger and betrayal. By the time dawn breaks, I'm exhausted but resolute. I'm going to meet Linda. If she has a way to make Jessica and Brad pay, I need to hear it. Cafe Luna is quiet when I arrive. The morning rush not yet begun. Linda is already there, sitting at a corner table, her face pale and drawn. She looks up as I approach, her eyes red-rimmed from crying. "Josh," she greets me with a weak smile. "Thank you for coming." "Let's get this over with," I say, sitting down opposite her. "What's your plan?" She takes a deep breath, leaning forward. "We're going to expose them. We'll gather evidence, enough to ruin their careers, their reputations, everything. They've destroyed our lives, so we'll destroy theirs." I nod slowly, the wheels turning in my mind. How do we start? Linda's eyes burn with determination. We start by playing their game. We'll make them think they've gotten away with it. And then, when they least expect it, we'll strike. As I listen to her outline the plan, a grim satisfaction settles over me. It's not just about revenge, it's about justice. And together, Linda and I are going to make sure Jessica and Brad get exactly what they deserve. The first step is clear: we need to gather proof. And to do that, we'll need to play the part of the unsuspecting spouses. It won't be easy, but with Linda by my side, I feel a renewed sense of purpose. The betrayal still stings, but now, there's a glimmer of hope. A hope that in the end, justice will be served. And as Linda and I part ways, a silent agreement hangs between us. We won't stop until they've paid for their betrayal. The bell of the cafe door chimes as I step outside. The cool morning air a stark contrast to the heated conversation inside. My mind buzzes with the weight of Linda's words. We're going to destroy them. The thought offers a cold comfort as I head to my car, the promise of retribution driving me forward. My phone buzzes in my pocket, pulling me from my thoughts. It's Greg, my coworker. I consider ignoring it, but I know I need to maintain appearances. Hey Greg, I answer, trying to sound as normal as possible. Josh, man. Where'd you go last night? You just disappeared. Yeah, sorry about that. I wasn't feeling well. Needed to get some air. Greg is silent for a moment. Listen, Josh, I saw Jessica leave with Brad. Are you sure everything's okay? I take a deep breath, forcing myself to keep it together. Yeah, Greg, everything's fine, just a misunderstanding. Alright, if you say so. Just know I'm here if you need anything. Thanks, Greg, I appreciate it. I hang up, my hands gripping the steering wheel as I sit in the parking lot. Greg's concern is genuine, but I can't afford to let anyone else in on what's happening. This is between me, Linda, Jessica, and Brad. I head home, my mind racing with the details of the plan. Linda and I agreed to meet again in a few days to start gathering evidence. Until then, I need to keep my cool, pretend like everything is normal. The days pass slowly. At work, I keep my head down, avoiding Brad as much as possible. He's smug, confident, like a man who thinks he's won. It takes every ounce of self-control not to wipe that smirk off his face. Jessica stays with him, not even bothering to come home and face me. Finally, the day arrives for my next meeting with Linda. We decide to meet at a small park on the outskirts of town, away from prying eyes. She's already there when I arrive, pacing near a bench, her expression tense. Josh, she greets me with a nod. We need to move quickly. Brad is talking about taking Jessica on a trip. If they leave, it'll be harder to keep tabs on them. Do you have a plan? I ask, sitting down beside her. She nods, pulling out a folder from her bag. We need to get into their phones. If we can access their messages, we'll have all the proof we need. How do we do that? I ask, skeptical. I have a friend, Nate. He's good with this kind of stuff. He can clone their phones, but we need to get close enough to them to install the software. I lean back, considering her words. How do we get close enough? Brad has a meeting tomorrow night at his office. He always leaves his phone on his desk. If you can distract him, I can slip in and get what we need. The plan is risky, but it's our best shot. Alright, I'll handle Brad. You get the phone. The next evening, I arrive at Brad's office building. The lobby is quiet, most people having already left for the day. I take the elevator to the top floor, my heart pounding with anticipation. Linda is already there, lurking in the shadows near Brad's office. Ready? She whispers. I nod, taking a deep breath before knocking on Brad's door. He looks up, surprised to see me. Josh, what are you doing here? Hey, Brad. I wanted to talk about the new project. Got a few ideas I wanted to run by you. He hesitates, glancing at the clock. Alright, come in. I step inside, positioning myself between him and the door, giving Linda the opportunity to slip past unnoticed. I launch into a monologue about the project, trying to keep his attention focused on me. As I talk, I see Linda out of the corner of my eye. She moves quickly, her fingers flying over Brad's phone as she installs the software. My heart races, every second feeling like an eternity. Finally, she gives me a subtle nod, signaling that she's done. I wrap up my spiel, pretending to be satisfied with Brad's half-hearted responses. Thanks for your time, Brad, I say, standing up. No problem, Josh. Always happy to help. I leave the office, my heart still pounding. Linda joins me in the elevator, her expression triumphant. We did it, she whispers. I nod, a sense of relief washing over me. Now what? Now we wait. The software will send us copies of their messages. It's only a matter of time before we have everything we need. Over the next few days, the messages start rolling in. At first, it's just mundane stuff. Work, plans for dinner, meaningless chatter. But then the conversations take a darker turn. Jessica and Brad's affair is laid bare, every detail of their betrayal there in black and white. It's painful to read, but it also fuels my resolve. They think they're untouchable, but they have no idea what's coming. Linda and I compile the messages, organizing them into a damning dossier. We gather photos, emails, anything that can be used against them. By the time we're done, we have enough evidence to ruin them both. We decide to strike at the upcoming company gala. It's the perfect setting, public, prestigious, and guaranteed to have everyone's attention. The night of the gala arrives, and the tension is palpable. I dress in my best suit, every detail meticulously planned. Linda and I arrive separately, blending in with the crowd as we wait for the right moment. As the evening progresses, Jessica and Brad are the picture of blissful ignorance, laughing and socializing without a care in the world. I catch Linda's eye from across the room, and she gives a subtle nod. It's time. I make my way to the stage, the folder of evidence tucked under my arm. The room falls silent as I take the microphone, every eye on me. Ladies and gentlemen, I have something important to share, I begin. My voice steady despite the turmoil inside. Something that affects all of us. Jessica and Brad look up, confusion and curiosity on their faces. I open the folder, holding up the first page of incriminating messages. Jessica, Brad, you thought you could deceive us. You thought you could get away with your betrayal. But tonight, the truth comes out. Gasps and murmurs ripple through the crowd as I read aloud the messages, each word a nail in their coffin. Jessica's face turns white, Brad's expression hardening into one of anger and fear. This is just the beginning, I continue, my voice rising. We have more, so much more. You've betrayed our trust, and now you'll face the consequences. The room erupts into chaos, people whispering and shouting, cameras flashing as everyone tries to capture the moment. Jessica and Brad stand frozen, their world crumbling around them. Linda steps up beside me, her presence a silent support. This is just the beginning, she repeats, her voice firm. Justice will be served. As we leave the stage, the realization sinks in. We've done it. We've exposed them, and now it's only a matter of time before their lives fall apart. The path ahead is uncertain, but one thing is clear. Together, Linda and I will ensure that Jessica and Brad pay for their betrayal, no matter the cost. The night after the gala is a blur of emotions. The satisfaction of exposing Jessica and Brad mingles with an underlying anxiety about what comes next. I'm wide awake, replaying the events in my mind. The look of shock on their faces, the gasps from the crowd. It's a moment I'll never forget. But now, it's time to brace for the fallout. The next morning, I'm jolted awake by a phone call. It's Linda. Josh, turn on the news, she says, her voice urgent. I fumble for the remote, flipping through channels until I find a local news station. The headline reads, Corporate Scandal Unveiled at Gala. My stomach tightens as the reporter recounts the events of last night, our faces splashed across the screen. This is just the beginning, I mutter, echoing Linda's words from the previous night. My phone buzzes with texts and emails, some from friends and colleagues expressing their shock and support, others from people I barely know, wanting to hear the full story. I ignore most of them, my focus on the task ahead. Linda and I meet at a small cafe, choosing a secluded booth away from prying eyes. She looks as exhausted as I feel, dark circles under her eyes betraying a sleepless night. We made the news, I say, sliding my phone across the table to show her the headline. She nods, sipping her coffee. It was inevitable. We knew this would go public. Do you think they'll try to retaliate? Of course they will, she says, her voice steely, but we have the upper hand. We have the evidence. As we strategize our next moves, my phone rings again. It's Greg. I hesitate before answering, but I know I can't avoid him forever. Hey, Greg, I say, trying to sound casual. Josh, what the hell happened last night? Everyone's talking about it. I exposed Jessica and Brad. They've been having an affair. Yeah, I got that much. But why at the gala? Couldn't you have handled it privately? Maybe. But this way, everyone knows the truth. Craig sighs. Look, man, I'm on your side. But be careful. Brad's not the type to go down without a fight. I know. Thanks, Greg. I hang up, turning back to Linda. We need to be ready for whatever they throw at us. We will be, she says, determination hardening her features. But first, we need to dig deeper. We need to find out if there's more to their betrayal. Our next step is to follow the money. If Jessica and Brad have been careless, there might be financial evidence to uncover. Linda suggests we start by examining their bank records and emails. I can get into Brad's accounts, she says. I have a few contacts who owe me favors. Are you sure that's safe? I ask, worried about the legal implications. It's a risk, but it's one we have to take. If we find anything, it could strengthen our case. Linda's contact, Nate, is a tech wizard with a knack for finding digital footprints. He agrees to help, setting up a secure connection to access Brad's accounts remotely. As we watch the data scroll across the screen, the magnitude of Brad and Jessica's deception becomes clear. There, Linda points to a series of transactions, payments to a private investigator, and look, hotel bookings, expensive gifts. They've been using company funds. This is big, I say, feeling a surge of adrenaline. If we can prove they've been embezzling money, it could destroy them both professionally and personally. Armed with this new information, we decide to confront Brad and Jessica separately, hoping to catch them off guard and leverage their panic. I call Jessica first, asking her to meet me at our house. She agrees, her voice strained and hesitant. When she arrives, I can see the toll the past few days have taken on her. She looks disheveled, her eyes red from crying. Josh, please, can we talk? She pleads as she steps inside. I don't waste time on pleasantries. Jessica, we know you've been using company funds to finance your affair. Her eyes widen in shock. What? No, that's not true. We have the records, I say, throwing the printouts on the table. Payments to a PI, hotel bookings, expensive gifts. All of it. She stares at the evidence, her face crumbling. Josh, I didn't know Brad was using company money. He told me it was his own. Save it, Jessica. You're just as guilty. And now, we're taking this to the board. As she sinks into a chair, defeated, I feel a mix of triumph and sorrow. This isn't the woman I married, but someone I no longer recognize. Next, Linda and I head to Brad's office. We wait in the lobby until he returns from a meeting, catching him by surprise. He tries to brush us off, but we force our way into his office, locking the door behind us. Josh, Linda, what is this? He snaps, trying to maintain his composure. We know everything, Brad, Linda says, her voice cold. The affair, the embezzlement, it's over. Brad's face hardens. You have no proof. We have plenty, I say, showing him the documents, and we're taking it to the board. You'll be lucky if you get away with just losing your job. He glances at the papers, his expression shifting from anger to desperation. Wait. Let's talk about this. We can work something out. There's nothing to work out, Linda says. You've destroyed our lives, and now it's time for you to face the consequences. As we leave his office, the weight of our actions settles in. The next few days will be crucial. We need to present our evidence to the board and ensure that Jessica and Brad face the full extent of their wrongdoing. Back home, I sit alone in the quiet house, reflecting on everything that's happened. This journey started with betrayal and heartbreak, but now, it's about justice and closure. Linda and I have come too far to back down now. The board meeting is scheduled for the end of the week. We spend the next few days preparing our case, gathering additional evidence, and rehearsing our presentation. The tension is palpable, but we're ready. The day of the meeting arrives, and we walk into the boardroom with our heads held high. The board members, a mix of stern and curious faces, watch as we set up our materials. Jessica and Brad sit at the far end of the table, their expressions a mix of fear and defiance. Ladies and gentlemen, I begin, taking a deep breath. We're here to present evidence of serious misconduct by two of your employees. Linda and I take turns presenting our findings, laying out the case methodically and clearly. The room is silent, the weight of our accusations hanging heavy in the air. When we finish, the board members confer quietly among themselves. Finally, the chairman speaks. This is serious. We will need to conduct a thorough investigation. In the meantime, Brad and Jessica, you are suspended from your duties effective immediately. Jessica bursts into tears, while Brad's face turns an alarming shade of red. As security escorts them out, I feel a sense of vindication. It's not over yet, but this is a significant victory. Outside the boardroom, Linda and I share a quiet moment of triumph. We did it, she says, her voice soft but determined. We're not done yet, I remind her, but we're on the right path. As we part ways, I know that whatever comes next, we'll face it together. The road to justice is long and winding, but with Linda by my side, I'm ready for whatever lies ahead. The week following the board meeting is a whirlwind of activity and uncertainty. The investigation into Jessica and Brad's misconduct intensifies, and the tension around the office is palpable. Linda and I remain vigilant, knowing that our victory is not yet secure. One evening, as I'm going through some old files at home, my phone buzzes with a text from Linda. Meet me at the usual spot. Urgent. I grab my keys and head out, my heart pounding. When I arrive at the cafe, Linda is already there, her face etched with worry. What's going on? I ask, sliding into the booth opposite her. We got a problem, she says, handing me her phone. On the screen is a series of emails between Brad and someone named Vincent. The emails are encrypted, but the snippets we can see suggest something much bigger than an affair and embezzlement. Who's Vincent? I ask, my mind racing. That's what we need to find out, Linda replies. I did some digging. Vincent works for a competitor. It looks like Brad and Jessica were selling company secrets. The implications hit me like a punch to the gut. This changes everything. We need more proof, Linda says. If we can expose this, it'll be the final nail in their coffin. Over the next few days, we work tirelessly to uncover the truth. We hack into more emails, follow money trails, and gather as much evidence as we can. The more we find, the deeper the conspiracy goes. Brad and Jessica weren't just cheating. They were betraying the company on a scale we hadn't imagined. Finally, we have enough to present to the board. Linda and I prepare for what we know will be a contentious meeting. We arrive early, setting up our presentation and ensuring everything is in order. As the board members file in, I feel a mix of nerves and determination. This is it, the moment we've been working towards. Thank you all for coming, I begin, my voice steady. We have uncovered new evidence that sheds further light on the actions of Brad and Jessica. Linda and I take turns presenting our findings, showing the emails, the transactions, and the connections to the competitor. The board members watch in stunned silence as the full extent of the betrayal becomes clear. When we finish, the chairman speaks. This is serious beyond anything we imagined. An external investigation will be launched immediately, and legal action will be pursued against both individuals. As the meeting adjourns, there's a palpable sense of resolution. We've done it. The truth is out, and justice will be served. But as we leave the boardroom, Linda's phone buzzes with a call. She answers, her face going pale. What? When? Okay. We'll be there. She hangs up, turning to me. That was Nate. He found something else. We need to get to his place now. We rush to Nate's apartment, my mind racing with possibilities. When we arrive, Nate is waiting for us, his face grave. I found a hidden file in Brad's emails, he says, leading us to his computer. It's a video, and it's bad. He plays the video, and my blood runs cold. It's footage of Brad and Jessica meeting with a group of men, discussing the sale of company secrets. But then the conversation turns, and they start talking about me and Linda. How they plan to frame us for the embezzlement and espionage. They were setting us up. I whisper, the realization hitting me hard. Not anymore, Linda says, her jaw set with determination. We need to take this to the police. Now. We gather all the evidence and head to the nearest police station. The officers take our statements and the video, assuring us that they'll investigate immediately. As we leave the station, I feel a mix of relief and lingering fear. We've exposed Brad and Jessica, but the danger isn't over. A few days later, I get a call from Detective Reynolds, the lead investigator on the case. Mr. Hamilton, we've arrested Brad and Jessica. The evidence you provided was crucial. We also detained Vincent and his associates. You and Ms. Roberts are in the clear. The relief is overwhelming. Thank you, Detective. Linda and I meet to celebrate, the weight of the past few weeks finally lifting. As we toast to our victory, she smiles. We did it, Josh. We really did it. Yeah, we did it. I say, feeling a sense of closure. What's next for you? She thinks for a moment. I'm not sure. But I know I want to start fresh. Away from all this. Me too, I agree. A fresh start sounds good. We part ways, each of us ready to move forward with our lives. But as I drive home, a thought nags at the back of my mind. There's one loose end that doesn't sit right. I decide to dig a little deeper, just to be sure. A week later, I'm going through some old files when I find a document that catches my eye. It's a letter from Vincent, addressed to Jessica. It talks about their plan, but it also mentions a third party, someone who orchestrated the whole scheme. I follow the lead, tracing the connections until I uncover the shocking truth. The mastermind behind everything was none other than Linda. She used me to expose Brad and Jessica, eliminating her competition and taking control of their contacts with Vincent. My hands tremble as I realize the extent of her betrayal. She played me from the start, using my anger and pain to her advantage. I confront her, the evidence in hand. Linda, what is this? I demand, throwing the documents on the table. She looks at me, her expression unreadable. It's exactly what it looks like. Why? I ask, my voice breaking. Why did you do this? Because I needed to secure my future, she says coldly. And you were the perfect pawn. The betrayal cuts deep, but I know what I have to do. I take the evidence to Detective Reynolds, ensuring that Linda faces the consequences of her actions. As she's led away in handcuffs, I feel a mix of sadness and vindication. The journey has been long and painful, but in the end, justice is served. I'm free to start anew, wiser and more cautious. Standing outside the police station, I take a deep breath, ready to move forward. The past is behind me and the future is wide open, and this time, I'll be careful who I trust.